Hi there, it's Heather from Creative Sage. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I wanted to jump on today because I've been in a lot of one-on-one magical mentoring sessions with clients, and I'm starting to see a sort of theme beginning to emerge. And I was thinking that when something like that happens and I get asked the same question over and over again, this is probably something we should be having a conversation about. So today I just wanted to talk to you really briefly about being in alignment and what that actually means. When I approach the idea or concept of alignment, I love to hearken it back to almost a sort of seasonal alignment. And what I mean by that is if you are fortunate enough to live in a place on the planet where you get to experience seasons, it is very easy to start to pay attention and begin to notice the different archetypes almost of the seasons and how those figure into your life and how you are existing in the world. So, for instance, if things are feeling off, and you can't quite get a handle on why you're not able to connect to present tense or what your intention is, it's worth looking at where you are in terms of how are you functioning connectively to the current season. So right now we're in a season of winter here in Michigan, although it's 55 degrees today and sunny, so you'd never know it. But if you were paying attention to the calendar, I know that it is winter right now. And when we are in a season of winter, whether that's happening planetarily or internally, we tend to need for stillness in winter. This is not a time for us to begin loads of new practices and put a ton of energy towards gutting a house or beginning a new project. This is a season of rest. If you pay attention to what is going on in Mother Nature during winter, the trees are not doing anything. The plants are not doing anything. Everything is existing from a place of stillness. And if we take that a little bit further, I love to be able to offer visual aids to sort of explain visually where we are emotionally. So for me, if you're familiar with the Rider Tarot deck, this is the season of the hermit. Winter is the season where we get very quiet. We go to a much more introverted place. We allow ourselves to refuel for the coming spring season, and we become a bit like the hermit. We choose with intention to tune in and access the inner teacher. This is a time for a little bit of retrospect in terms of what did we accomplish last year? What did we get done? And how can we sit with that now in order to begin to use what we've learned or discard things that no longer serve us as we lean towards the spring, summer, the seasons of growth? So, if you are trying to get into alignment with what is going on right now as far as the seasons go, and you've been banging your head against a wall trying to start something new and trying to jump into what's coming next, it will not feel like you are in right alignment with where you are to be on a spiritual or emotional plane. If you can allow yourself to maybe start to journal a little bit, turn within, begin to access the more authentic self. Look for the guides that are within the inner teacher, the very still, quiet voice of the one that got you here. This is a time for receiving, for connecting with the self on a very deep level, and listening for what shows up for you. What sort of things are leaping out onto the page of your journal? What are your dreams indicating to you? Start to write these things down and very quietly begin to plan for the next season that is coming, that being spring. About a month and a half from now, a month from now, as we move into spring, for me, the Empress is the indicator of spring. She is the visual representation of what spring emotionally and spiritually looks like and feels like for me. So she is fertile, it is very lush. She is sitting in a place of almost divine pregnant possibility. Seeds are being planted. Things have not yet begun to launch to the surface yet, but very quietly, they're making their way towards the light of the day. And so we go from this place of quiet to very quiet, very quietly, very slowly moving towards a place of fertility. So as we move into spring, if you honor the idea of this season, now we begin to plant the seeds. Now we begin to plan what the garden will look like. Now we begin to lean into the idea of what we want the future to begin like to become for us. This is the way that we do that. And then as we go from spring into summer, and again, this is just my interpretation of what the seasons look like with a physical representation of them in the Rider Waite. And this feels to me very much like what summer looks like. It's abundance and lush and joy and that big, beautiful, bright energy of the sun. We are filled with the divine light of possibility. And my goodness, there is nothing we can't do. So, summer, spring, these are times of action and appreciation and gratitude and enjoying what has come our way, and more importantly, what we have created. And then finally, I know a lot of people are not in love with this card. I'm a Scorpio, so it would only be natural that the death card is one of my favorites. I actually love this card because death is about transformation. And I was talking to a client earlier in the week about this idea of what deep and soulful transformation really feels like. And it's perfectly represented during the autumn season. Autumn is when we can check in and pay attention. Leaves are falling off trees. Things are beginning to die off. We have collected our harvest for the year, sat in a place of gratitude for what we now have, but we're also at a place where it's time to let the dead rest. We are not in the habit of gluing dead leaves on trees. We allow them to go dormant so that everything that has died can now alchemize over the coming season and become the best version of what it will be throughout the winter months. And that is like a sort of fertilizer for the soil. It enriches it with the experience of what it has just come through and allows it to become what it needs to in order to help the next season become lush with abundance. So, a quick recap. In winter, we allow everything to be quiet. We try to exist from a place of working with our own inner teacher, receiving the wisdom that came with us before we ever took our first breath. We stay in this place of dormancy, waiting for almost the equinox into spring and things to pivot towards the next season, moving closer to the light of spring. Spring becoming that time for planting seeds, stepping towards what our intention is for the coming year. What do we want the garden to look like? And that applies to your work life, your spiritual life, your home life, anything that you are able to begin to cultivate. This is what the season of spring is about. And then we go into summer, lush with abundance, flowers everywhere. We get to stand in the beautiful light of sunshine every day and enjoy what we have created. Just be in that place of gratitude and high energy and really just saying thank you. And then we very slowly shift towards the season of deep transformation and the end of things. And that would be autumn, where we move towards what we can now allow to drop. We say thank you for all that we have created, for all that we have been blessed with. But we also recognize that it's time to move towards this season of quiet where we've come full circle back to winter. So we just sort of say thank you. We enjoy the harvest and then we let it all fall and move towards that quiet place. So if you are on a path seeking more alignment for yourself on a deeper soul level, the easiest thing you can do that has the quickest access for you is simply to tune into the energy of the seasons. If you are a tarot person like me and you enjoy visual aids, then by all means, Pick the 4 cards from the deck that you work with. For me, it's Rider Waite. Pick the 4 cards and assign them seasons, and then imagine yourself stepping into the energy and the feeling of that card. What would it feel like to sit in the place of the Empress for spring? What is she seeing? What does it mean to be fertile with possibility and lush with what is to come? There's so many beautiful ways to be able to connect our emotions to the seasonal aspect of what is happening around us. So I hope you'll take the time to do that for yourself. And if I can be of further assistance, I would love for you to reach out for magical mentoring. I'm now doing this via Zoom as well as in person. So you will never be too far away for us to connect on this level. Thanks so much for your time. Happy and healthy new moon if you are seeing this on February 9th. And I look forward to working with you soon. Enjoy the rest of the day.